Welcome everyone. This is the opening ceremony for DATAnalyze 2021. I am Scotty Shaw, the founder and president of Tech Tree Root. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, educational nonprofit, and our focus is on creating events like hackathons. Ideally, do them as asynchronously and internationally as possible, so everyone can participate regardless of location and time. So obviously, this is a big undertaking. We can't do this without our partners and sponsors. So I would like to go ahead and run through some of the key entities we have and, just kind of show everyone, the different partners and sponsors we're working with. So to start, in Africa, in Nigeria, in fact, we have Blue Afrique Media, and they're based in Enugu State. And I mentioned that also because one of our major partners is also the Enugu State SME Center. So for our African participants, if you're trying to get involved, definitely feel free to contact them. You can also, join our event directly, but at least you'll have some local support. We'll continue adding more partners and sponsors from other countries, so keep an eye out for that. We also would like to thank a special partner, HBCU Connect, and the CEO, Will Moss is here, so we'll go ahead and wave real quick. And we also have our Diamond Tier title sponsor, Microsoft. And here with us, we have Lars and Dinesh. So you guys want to give a quick greeting? Oh, Lars, you're muted.
I guess it had to happen to somebody. Hi, everybody. My name is Lars Ojukwu. I am actually a diversity and inclusion program manager here at Microsoft. So I'm not what most people think of when they think of Microsoft. I'm not an engineer. But that's the beauty of a place like Microsoft. There's so many different ways to get involved within tech. Same thing with any of the teams that you're going to be creating for this hackathon. You don't just need one type of person. Finding a diversity of people that can be on your team to help you accomplish what you're trying to do is a great way to find success. So I'm based here in the Seattle area, where the headquarters of Microsoft is. And my partner on the other side of the country is Dinesh. He is with our Boston team. So I'll let Dinesh introduce himself.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Dinesh Ganapathy. I'm a senior tech advisor at Microsoft New England Research and Development. It's also called Microsoft Nerd. We're located here in Massachusetts. We have offices in Cambridge and Acton. Cambridge is right across the Charles River, and Acton office is about like 20 miles north of Boston. We're like a multidisciplinary site, and we have like teams working and solving problems in a multitude of areas: AI, ML, data science, cloud, and cybersecurity. So in the coming weeks, you'll be hearing from all our leaders and other folks at NERD. We're super excited about DATAnalyze and looking forward to the next few weeks.
So between our Boston Nerd site and my team over here, which is the AI platform team within Microsoft, we're really excited to be a part of what's happening here. So wish you the best of luck throughout the rest of the hackathon, and we'll turn the time back over to you all.
All right. So thank you, Microsoft. Thank you, Lars and Dinesh. So moving on, I want to make sure everyone knows what's going on with the event in general. So it's going to be a 7-week event, October 8th today, going through November 21st. And you can visit our full schedule here. On that page, you're going to see we have all these weekends, every date. A lot of our activities will be built around the weekends. We're also going to have events going Monday through Friday between the weekends, but at least this is when you can expect to find the most mentors, moderators, volunteers, support, and all that. And each weekend we have something for everyone to do. So this weekend, you can see the first weekend is proposing your abstract, thinking about questions you want to answer, data that you can analyze and all that. You don't have to really do anything right away. And if you feel like you can move faster, then feel free to work ahead. The main thing, however, is if you're new to this, or if you're just trying to take time, maybe you have to work weekends, or you just don't have all this time to just build this project. We want you to be able to take a more leisurely pace and be able to say every weekend, what can you focus on? So you can see, weekend 1 through 4, you build the project, and on weekend 5, you can submit the project. And then, weekend 6, we'll have the award ceremony, and weekend 7, we'll showcase our winners and all that. For the regulations, you can visit our website, and you need to register. That way we can keep you updated through email and all that. You can also see our FAQ, our FAQ, frequently asked questions page for more information. We can continue updating that as needed. And we want to really emphasize our community values. You can visit this, but some of the main things we want to focus on is care, trust, pride, collective responsibility, and communication. We believe that these are really, really important values for teams, not just our team building this event, but also working with partners and sponsors, also for you interacting as participants, as teammates. It's also important, if you join our Discord and follow our social media, you can get updates and announcements and all that. And sometimes we might have to change something, but at least we'll do our best to communicate all of this very clearly. Some basic things, everyone's welcome. You can participate from anywhere. You just need to get online, build your thing, submit to us. You can join as many teams as you want, and you can submit as many projects as you want, which means you could have a team of 5 for one project, and then you can have a team of 3 for another project. And then those teammates, they might create a third team, and each team can submit. However, each submission, we're only allowing a maximum of 6 team members to be listed. Now, if you have more than 6, that's fine, but obviously we can't have teams of 48 and 7,000. But you are welcome to join as many teams as you want. The main thing, obviously, is decide who's on which teams and all that. We also would hate for anyone to create teams that are so big that you cannot communicate and build and actually work. So we'd like to encourage a limit of 6. This is bigger than a lot of hackathons because this is online, it's international. So instead of 4, we think 6 is a better size. And you're welcome to use any data you want. We will have more information on data sets. We have some partners who are providing data and all that, and then you can visit our website for more information. But in general, if you have your own data, you can use that. If you want to scrape, say, basketballreference.com, anything you want, feel free to get the data to answer the questions you want. And now we have our keynote speaker, Allison Soul. He is a principal engineer for our Diamond Tier title sponsor, Microsoft. And Allison, take us away. Allison, you might be muted.
Yeah, I was unmuting myself, but I didn't say anything before. It is my pleasure to be here. I'm really happy to have this opportunity to talk with you all. And as said, I work for Microsoft as a group engineering manager for the AI frameworks in Redmond, in the Seattle area. And the most important thing here is I have education in physics. It's not even education in computer science until my grad school work. And I believe that data analysis is not, as some people say, a profession for the future. It is a profession that is there now. I will talk about 4 things. I will try to be brief and inspire the teams to really think about what they are doing and act in using data that is now available to us. And the slide that you are seeing right now, it is about the data that exists about you. Right now, for most of the people that are using the internet, you can go to sites like the Google Takeout or the Microsoft privacy site and see how much data is being captured about you. One of the things that I found is that it is a large amount of data. I downloaded this for myself, and it was 16 gigabytes of data. And we have 7 billion people nowadays alive. Happily, we have at most 2 billion online. We still have to get the other 5 billion online, but it gives you a dimension of all these things that people talk about big data, the volume, the velocity, the variety, and the veracity. Is this data all true? Is everything that is there really something that can be trusted about a person? In the next slide, you can see that today you have all these data sets. You can go to slides like the Microsoft Research Open Data. They share a lot of data. There are sites like Kaggle, that will give you data and many more others. There are sites that enable you to research for data. And this event also will have some links that you can find later about data sets. And one thing that I noticed lately is this. If you see the next picture, it shows you a time when we were used to think about data in a physical way. Maybe some people even in this event are not old enough to remember. We had diskettes. Diskettes had a capacity. If you needed some data, you had to carry that diskette. And today we don't have this. Today we have these data centers that are somewhere. Microsoft, for example, is putting some data centers underwater. And they have how much? 27.6 petabytes. When you have this kind of technology, what happens is people disconnect themselves from the reality of what is that data means. It is a lot of data, and we need to be very conscious about the fact that this has an impact. Microsoft is making a pledge to be carbon negative by 2030, and we keep accumulating data. So we need to put this data to use, and we need to be sure that we are putting it to good use. And that is what brings us to the next point, which is the analysis of data. This is where I will spend the most time in this presentation, but again, try to be brief and try to bring some value, because a lot of people can do data analysis, and a lot of people have been doing data analysis for a while. Data analysis is not a profession of the future. It's something that is there right now. I had the opportunity to work for Microsoft in parts of Microsoft Excel, and I found that it is an amazing tool. It's still used by Wall Street, by doctors, by accountants, and any kind of professional. And many times you see data being analyzed in Excel, and it is shown in graphs like that one. That is the typical graph where it doesn't matter what we are measuring there. It is just a measurement of, hey, this is what we were forecasting, the blue line, and this is the actual, the orange line. And sometimes at some point in time, the lines cross, one go over another, and it has some meaning. But sometimes, and we love graphs, everybody loves visualization of data, but sometimes you have to go to the raw data. Let's go next to see the raw data here. It is very dry. You look at this data, and nobody likes to see data in formats that are the numbers, even if there is metadata about the meaning. But look at that data. That data has a very good piece of information that was not in that graph, which is the error of the forecast and the error of the actual data. And let's not get into how that error was measured right now, but I want to show you in the next image the effect of putting in that same graph the error margin for that data. And now I hope you see that the same piece of information that was shown before, it acquires a new dimension. You start to say, well, maybe the forecast and the actual, they didn't really cross at some point in time. Maybe that was always within the error margin of this. And there are other representations of this same data, as in the next slide, in which you see that in an even better way. And that is where I see one of the main problems that we have today. We are having all this data is having all this visualization in tools that are popular, like Excel, not so popular, like notebooks. And the reality is data and its analysis demand that we consider not only the fact that we have some information sometimes, but what is the error of this information? How much we can trust the data, because sometimes you cannot trust the data. But now let's go next and see, can we trust the analysis of the data? It is very common at Microsoft that some teams have two services. And it doesn't matter here which service is which, but just that the services have some cost. And we are talking about millions of dollars. And in that case, there you can see I have two services that cost, and they serve so many units of whatever service they provide. It can be calls, it can be creating data, it can be whatever, but they serve so many million units. And calculating the cost per unit of that service is quite easy. You have a cost, let's say per month, you have the number of units of measurement for your service, and you divide cost per unit. And now we have a problem of analysis. If you click to the next slide, you see the progress of the slide, you see one thing. Many times I ask people, give me the average cost for our team of these services that we are providing. And now you see a problem, I hope, in that people go, they average the cost, they average the number of units that we provide, and they come back with, this is the average of the cost divided by the average of the units. This is the average cost per unit that we have. And sometimes, because of a coincidence, that is correct. But if you add one service, let's add one service there that is very costly. And in the next iteration of this slide, you see that, one more, I added a service that costs $60 million to serve, but provides very few units. And now I increased the utilization of those previous services the next period, okay? And you can see that now the service one costs only $0.3 million per millions of units. The service two costs 0.2. Service one costs a lot. What happens if I do the averages now? You see, the average of the cost is 24. The average of the units of service is 17. The average cost would be, I believe that is wrong there. Oh, of course it's wrong. The average of the cost per unit, you see, it's just taking the average of that column. It would be 20.2. And you see that this is wrong. You see that my initial reaction here was even though I made this, it's like, well, that number doesn't really make sense. And why it doesn't make sense? Because you cannot do this. You cannot keep doing averages of averages. The final column there, the average of the cost per unit, is an average of the averages. And if you look at the next slide, what I am trying to prove is you shouldn't use mean, you shouldn't kind of average averages. You shouldn't use mean average with ratios. The reality is, even the first example that I provided was kind of wrong. What you should have done, and it is just that it was not that wrong enough for people to suspect it. But what you should do if you want to calculate for this unit of services here, how much on average costs for you to serve whatever you are serving, you should have added your cost, added your units of service, and then you should have made your cost per unit as the total cost divided by the total number of services that you provide, total number of units. It is just that what happens is See, between 2.5 and 2.4, people don't perceive this difference. They only perceive this difference when it is very visible. And that is a problem. That is an analysis of the data that is wrong. And we see multiple times in spreadsheets and in other places, analysis of data that is wrong, but not wrong enough for people to suspect it. And that is the first problem. See, I told you at the beginning, suspect the data, enforce cleanness of the data, make sure you have valid data. But now we have wrong analysis sometimes. And I will even show you a far more impactful example now. Let's go to an example of vaccine trials. Let's suppose that you are trying a new vaccine. And you, at first, of course, you have a very small set of people. And you try that vaccine, and you make a test, and you do the vaccine with 100 people, and the success is 66%. And you also give placebo to some people, and the success is 60%. Well, enough difference. Unlike people think, 10% success ratio difference is a lot of lives that could have been saved. But this is the first trial. Let's do another trial, okay? And now if you see this next table, this vaccine got a second trial. Oh, this time they said, hey, let's give the vaccine to less people and see, let's give the placebo to more to capture more data. And they find that, look, still the vaccine is better than the placebo. And it is looking like you get a ratio of the vaccine consistently better than the placebo. But now let's add up the two data sets that we have. If you add up the two data sets that you have, then you clearly see now that the placebo is having a better success ratio than the vaccine. And because I didn't do the averages of averages like we warned before, I could see that. But the problem is, see, this is called, as it is shown there, the Simpson's paradox. This is a very common problem. And it causes problems even in Wall Street. Companies look like they are being better than other companies every quarter, but over the entire year or over long periods, they are worse. It's very important to understand the analysis of the data that is being shown to you, because otherwise, if you just look at tables with the final numbers, you will be thinking in a different way than what really the data is indicating to you. And this is especially important in the analysis of hair events. Let's see now a table that is relative to a model about you blinking. So in this slide here, what you are seeing is this. Suppose I'm trying to make a model that will tell you if you are blinking right now. We know that humans blink 10 times per minute, and each blink lasts about 150 milliseconds, most. Some blink faster, some blink slower, but let's give these blinks 150 milliseconds so that we have more data. So if we will have this many blinks, I will have from 1 to 1.5 seconds of blinks for every minute, which is 60 seconds. And typically, these cameras that we have today, they capture 30 frames per second. So my raw data will have 1,800 frames, and frames with blink will be 45, 1.5 seconds. Now, as soon as I create a model for you that will tell you if you are blinking or not. And this model always answers, no, this person is not blinking. The reality is TP in that table means true positives. It is the times the person was blinking that the model predicted the person was blinking. And since this model always says no, that is 0. There were 45 times, those are the false negatives, in which the model, the actual was, the person was blinking, but the model predicts, no, this person is not blinking. That is the false negative. And then there are 1,755 times when the model says this person is not blinking, and the person is really not blinking. And finally, the false positives, you had the person not blinking and the model predicted blinking are 0 because this model is a model that always answers no. This person is not blinking. Cool. Let's see in the next slide what is the accuracy that formulas that we use all the time gives us. So the accuracy, and you can search this formula later, is true positives plus true negatives, what the model predicted correctly, divided by the total number of predictions. And you find what? This is a model that is 97.5% accurate, which brings you this perception, that kind of impression that this is a very good model, but it is not. You saw that I just gave you a model that predicts that you are never blinking. Every event that is an event that happens very few times starts with this problem. The true negatives will be so big that accuracy is not a good measurement. And yet, I see many times people coming with machine learning models, artificial intelligence models, where the analysis is, oh, this model is good, it's 97.5% accurate. But that doesn't mean that much, isn't it? And this is even worse with models trying to detect things that are even less predominant, like attacks in software systems. They are rare compared to the real number of people using the service, usually for good intentions. So the reality is that's why it's so hard to detect these situations. And there are other metrics that you should use. I will not make this that much boring for you in terms of mathematics in this presentation, but please research these other metrics because accuracy is usually not a very good metric. And to close on analysis, I just go to the next slide and invite you to think about how are you going to work as a team. Analysis of data when you are alone, running everything in your machine, knowing that the files are in this folder, the model is in that folder, how I'm controlling a version of the model, it's already hard enough. But when you go and start working as a team, it is super important that you think about the operations, how these people will work together, how are we going to share, how are we going to make an experiment, and if it succeeds, we make a change and we compare the two models. There is an entire discipline called ML Ops that is gaining a lot of importance because it is a discipline of how you put all this work together for a group of people that share not only code. For sharing code, there are very good solutions. Software developers have been using those solutions like GitHub for a while. Git and GitHub technologies are commonly used, but that doesn't scale when you try to put on GitHub a data set of 2.7 petabytes. And that is not what it is created for. So you need a different approach. And that is what those links will probably help you to learn to use. So learn about MLOps, and that is probably something that you will have a good chance and opportunity to use, not only during the data analyze, but later in your professional life. So data analysis gave us what? Insights. Let's go next and think about what is that we will do with those insights. The reality is the use of insights, what the data told us to do, demands that you think and not only you, sometimes you as a data analyst will present those results and will share those results. And the reality is, I put two links there that I hope people have the chance to explore. One is, increasingly, you can arrive at wrong conclusions about systems, about people, and about companies based on data that is publicly available. And then what? What is the right that these people have to correct you? Or a company has to go and give feedback that maybe this information posted in some page is not correct. The European Union created some rules regarding privacy that you should always consider and make sure that you are not collecting, exposing, processing, or storing data about people in ways that are not compliant with the law, because this may have implications. Once you release, for example, the social security number or any other private number, the telephone number of a person in the internet, it becomes extremely hard to retrieve back that information, to remove that information from the internet, if possible at all. So you need to be careful and think about what you are doing, and be careful with your data, be careful with your analysis, and make sure that you are processing this in a way that is really, first, safe regarding that data. And second, what happens today is that we are imposing on humans a new way of thinking about life that they were not designed for. People grew during thousands of years in tribes and in places where they had at most 150 relationships. And today they are influenced, or they try to be influencers for thousands of people. And that's why we have crises of mental health, and we need to think about what is that happens if I post in the internet that people that have a certain body shape are better than other people. Is this something that will not have implications? Is this something that will be read in the context of my study and my data analysis and insights? It is very important that we think about what we are producing. And finally, after we have data analysis and think, let's go next and see what happens. We need to act. The reality is, if you go back in time, we had enough warnings about, for example, a pandemic. We have recently seen a lot of people refer to this presentation by Bill Gates during TED in 2015. So this is more than 6 years ago. And Bill Gates was talking exactly about a scenario of pandemic that could happen in the future, and we need to be ready. You can even go, you don't need to go elsewhere. You can go in TED itself and find that by 2006, which is then 15 years ago, there was a presentation about the same topic, how to stop pandemics. And it was from someone that is an epidemiologist talking about the difficulties of dealing with things in the past and how to this thing can repeat in the future. And we cannot take action about everything. As you can see there, one of the things that we have to do is to prioritize. You have only so much under your control, and even people like Bill Gates could not influence enough for us to be prepared for the pandemic. But the thing that you can influence the most, and it is becoming increasingly costlier, and you can see there by 2006, there was a book, How to Spend $50 Billion to Make the World a Better Place. 2014, what happened? Oh, the book title changed. And the only thing that changed was what? It's now $75 billion. But the most important thing is, if you look next, is what is the thing that it is the top priority that all of us together should do and work to really improve the world? It's not posting in social networks how important it is to work in climate change. That is probably only make the earth warmer. It is to educate the next generation. Each time you do something that improves those around you, educate children, educate their parents about the importance of putting children to study and get more information and education, that really changes things. And I hope the acronym of all these things that I said will be easy to remember. You can see there, start with the data, pay attention to the data, be careful with your analysis, then think, but most important, at some point, act and take action so that we improve the education of everyone around us. And thank you. My contact information is there. It was a pleasure to have this opportunity to talk with you, and you can contact me, and I will be eager to help anyone that is participating in this event.
Yeah, thank you, Allison. Like we said earlier, Allison So is the keynote speaker for our event coming from Microsoft. And if you want to connect with him, here's all the information. You can also check down below in the video description and connect with him there. And of course, we also want to make sure that our special partner, HBCU Connect, with the CEO, Will Moss, want to make sure, Will, welcome. We want to make sure you get to say something too.
Sure. Happy to present. But first of all, let me welcome all of the participants. Hearty warm welcome from HBCU Connect to all of our HBCU students or graduates that are going to be participating as well. Welcome. And to everyone else around the world and locally, welcome to the event. So I wanted to give you a quick little bit of background about us, but more importantly, I wanted to just share my thoughts on the opportunity and why folks should be excited. So a little bit about HBCU Connect. We're the #1 website online for students and graduates from the HBCU community. And a little bit more about who we are. We've been around since 1999, and our mission is to basically focus on opportunities for diverse folks and candidates, whether they're HBCU students, HBCU graduates, or those connected to the HBCU community and historically the African American community here in the United States. So I think this creates an awesome opportunity for students at HBCUs or even recent graduates that are interested in technology and interested in the hackathon and what the learning from that can mean for your future. This is an awesome opportunity. So I just wanted to present our organization, what we are about. We've been around, like I said, for a very long time. And just to give you some statistics on our organization, we have over 1.2 million members. Over 300,000 people visit our website. A lot of that is driven by our connections on social media and the content that we share, but it's all about sharing opportunities. But more importantly than the statistics and telling you guys a little bit about who we are, I want to share a little bit of my personal experience and having success through technology. So my background, I went to Hampton University in Virginia, majored in computer science, and I wanted to be a coder. I wanted to be, someone that would be, now they didn't have a lot of hackathons when I, got into computer science in the 90s, but we did have one thing called the internet, and that was sort of the beginning of the internet. And back then I saw the internet as an opportunity with a very low barrier to entry, to be able to participate, to learn, to apply that learning to a potential career, and basically be able to provide for yourself and your family. But then beyond that, the internet and technology has provided for the opportunity to be an entrepreneur and to leverage your knowledge in technology and what you've learned through events like this to apply that to whatever idea you might have. And that's really the story behind hbcuconnect.com, because when I started the website, which initially was just a website with an idea for a network, because I selfishly wanted to stay in touch with graduates from HBCUs, because I graduated from one of them, graduated from Hampton University. There was no Facebook, there was no LinkedIn. There were very few, like, social networks had just started to pop up the same year that I had this concept for an HBCU related social network. So I rolled up my sleeves with that technical know-how that I learned as a computer science student at Hampton University. I rolled up my sleeves just like you all will be able to roll up your sleeves and develop ideas in the hackathon. I had an idea, and then I leveraged technology, one being the internet and one being the know-how of being able to write software and knowing how to code. And I merged those two technologies and my idea and created a business that has far exceeded my wildest dreams as far as success, as far as being able to provide for myself, provide for my family, even provide for my friends that have helped me along the way and joined me shortly after I quit my corporate job to run my dream job, being hbcuconnect.com. I've hired folks that used to work with me in the past. I've hired family members with me, and I've hired friends to help me along the way with this journey. And we've all eaten off of this plate that came from an idea, that came from the opportunity and that low barrier to entry. When you have technical know-how, you have the internet, and you have some ambition to follow through and make some things happen. So I really encourage you all to leverage this opportunity with the hackathon to express your ideas through that technology, learn more, engage with the folks that are here to help you and mentor you along the way, and leverage that and learn. And then in the future, you can use this, whatever you learn, and maybe even your idea. There may be some ideas that come out of this hackathon that could turn into multi-million-dollar businesses in the future. That's very, very realistic. So leverage all of this to maximize your future. And to all of you that are taking the time to participate, I'm sure your futures are bright. So I just wanted to share that message and introduce you to HBCU Connect, and thank Scotty for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Will. It's great, for us creating this event, hosting it, and doing it internationally, to be able to say it doesn't matter where you are, just like Will said, it doesn't matter where you are, rich or poor. We just want to be able to say, if you join us, we're going to do our best to help you out. And, if you're a student at HBCU, if you're a student coming from Duke or Harvard, Stanford, MIT, all the students that if you're in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas, what I've been doing the past 5 years. Of course, participants from other places like Iceland, Australia, and, we also have some countries that are only possible because of our next speaker, Ghana, Malawi, Nigeria. We want to make sure that you feel included as well. So we also have the VP Africa of Tech Tree Root. His name is Mayowa Adeoti, based in Lagos. And we would love to hear from you as well to close out. So Mayowa, how you doing?
I'm fine, and thank you for having me. Once again, I want to join you to thank all our partners, sponsors across the world. And Will, that just finished speaking, thank you for having work with us. And I'm very sure the collaboration is going to be quite fruitful and also interesting in the long term. During this, the whole planning, it's been a bit of here and there, quite interesting. Within the shortest time, we gather here to actually put in something really concrete. And this is a widespread hackathon. So this means a lot for all of us. Flipping to the participant coming from Africa, we are very much glad to have you, especially in Malawi, in countries like Ghana, Nigeria, and we're still expanding to other countries across Africa, countries like Kenya, Tanzania, Seychelles, Madagascar, especially Mauritius in the Pacific. And we're looking at how we can make this all-inclusive kind of hackathon and do this year on year over time. And for our participants, feel free to collaborate with all our mentors, speakers. They're very much available to render their assistance, guidance as much as they can. And we on the other side, we are very much available to talk to you. Our partners, they also have mentors, they also have speakers. Locally, they can provide local support, which is part of why we have them as partners. So please feel free to reach out. If you need support, we're also available on standby 24/7 to help out anywhere you need help. Don't forget to use our community development channels like the Discord, please. I'm mentioning this because I know this comes quite crucial and very handy to leverage during the time, since the hackathon is going to be running for 7 weekends. So please feel free to use the Discord to ask any questions. Our moderators will be available to attend to all questions. And peradventure you have an emergency, please feel free to reach out to myself or Scotty. Very much available to attend to you. Whatever help you need, will be there. And I'm sure Lars will also be very much available to assist where they can. Thank you once again, and I wish everyone a successful event at the end of the day.
All right, thank you, Mayowa. So there you have it. We have a lot of support coming in, and we will continue adding more support. If you visit our website, you see at the bottom HTTPS, DATAnalyze.ai. That's our website. You can find all the information you need. We have an FAQ page, a schedule page. We have a Discord and social media, the standard Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter, and obviously YouTube. In general, you can find information on our website, all the different links. You can check the video description below for more information, more links if you want to connect with Allison or Dinesh or Lars or Will or Mayowa or myself. You can find ways to connect with us, whether it's our LinkedIn pages or pages, personal pages like Allison's. So we'd like to thank everyone who joined us for the opening ceremony. Anyone who's watching this in the future, we have designed this to be asynchronous. So if you missed this event live, this video, that's fine. You can watch it again. We're running this for 7 weeks. And if you're watching this into the future after November 21st, 2021, then we encourage you, join our Discord, connect with us in some way and find out what the next event is. We would love to see you around, and we definitely want to encourage you to do your best with this event, with tech. We hope you enjoy it, and we hope to see you in our community.